Hi, my name's MJ. I'm HSV2 positive, which means I have genital herpes, and yes, I just said that out loud on the internet. I do videos from time to time because raising awareness lowers stigma and that lowers infection rates, so let's go. I wanted to do a video on the number one myths I hear surrounding genital herpes. The first one is that you can get it from a toilet seat. Now, low key, this was something I was like super nervous about when I got diagnosed. I was afraid to use like bathrooms at my friends' houses, public restrooms. I was super terrified and like overly obsessive about hygiene in these situations because I was so scared I'd accidentally infect somebody and then feel guilty. This was unwarranted. I know we've all heard people make the comment about how they caught an STD from a toilet seat. Especially if you're my age or older, you've probably heard it. But the risk of this is virtually non existent, especially when it comes to HSV2. The virus that causes genital herpes just cannot survive for long periods, like on surfaces. In fact, according to the ASHA, there are literally no documented cases of anyone contracting genital herpes from a toilet seat. I'm assuming that the myth, like, oh, I caught an STD from a toilet seat, or oh, I got pregnant from a toilet seat, has simply stemmed from like the historical stigma and shame like associated with intimacy. People, even more so in the past, would be more willing to say that they caught something or like became pregnant by, going to the bathroom than admit that, they're impure and like, or they're actually intimate with someone. Okay, myth number two, and debunking this is important for you to protect yourself because this myth still runs rampant. The myth that you can't transmit the virus unless you're having an outbreak. The New England Journal of Medicine reports that up to 90% of people with the HSV2 virus are actually asymptomatic. That means they show no symptoms at all, or their symptoms are so small that they don't even notice them. Unfortunately, even when you're asymptomatic, you can still shed the virus. This also means that just because you're on antivirals, that does not mean you can't spread the virus. Another myth surrounds pregnant women in that if they're going to have a natural birth, they're definitely going to pass on HSV2 to their offspring. Now, I want to be clear, neonatal herpes, like it is a thing and it can be very dangerous, but it's extremely rare. It's approximated that a quarter of pregnant women have genital herpes. 25%. And the majority of them will go on to have healthy, happy pregnancies and deliveries. But it's still very important to be transparent when you communicate with your OB about having HSV2. Because in 2025, there are so many ways that they can help manage it during pregnancy and during birth. Women who get the virus, like during their later trimesters, are higher at risk for like passing it on. Obviously, I'm not a doctor. But just from research, I think it has something to do with how the antibodies are passed through the placenta or something. But either way, just because you have HSV2, it does not mean that you can't have like a healthy birth, and that includes a natural birth. Not that there's anything wrong with C-sections, I'm a C-section baby. I'm just saying there is a myth that like, if you have HSV2, you cannot give natural birth. Like I said, just maintain transparent and honest communication with your provider, and you should be Gucci. Lastly, I usually don't like to end things on a bad note, but the video has been pretty positive. But there is no cure for HSV2. No matter what anyone tries to sell in my comments, there is no cure. That doesn't mean you won't live a healthy, happy life even with it, but there's no cure.